Hello guys and welcome to Python programming tutorials by Amul's Academy. Today in this tutorial we are discussing about how to print stars in alphabetical B shape. In the previous tutorial we discussed about how to print stars in alphabetical A shape. If you already watched that video, then it is very easy to print alphabetical B because there is no much difference in the code. Alright, now we'll begin with the code. So here first we'll take for loop, that is to print stars in rows and column. Here in the output we can see different rows and columns. We want to print stars in the different row and different column here. So for that we are using two for loops. One is for row and another one is for column. So first I'll use for row in range 7. Here row is an variable, range is from 0 to 7. 7 because here we can see 7 rows in the output, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I took 7 here. If you want you can change the number. And here we can see 5 columns, so I'll take 5 there. Alright. Next I'll take if-else conditional statement. That's because we are not printing stars in each row and each column. We want to print in a particular shape. For that we need a condition. So I'll use if condition. Now I need to mention the condition, that is where I want to print this star. That is in which row and in which column stars are needed. Okay. So for that here we can see in the output, in the column 0 and column 4 we can see the stars, right? So here mention, I'll check whether column is equal to 0 or column is equal to 4. Here OR is a logical operator, and in the case of logical OR, if both the input are false, then only output is false, otherwise it is true. If any one of the input is true, then output will be true. Here I mentioned OR because if the control is in column 0 or column 4, I want star, right? So I mentioned OR here and I'll group them. This is my one condition, OR, and we'll see another condition. So now column is done, that means this part is done. So now we need to concentrate on the rows. That is, here we can see row 0, row 3 and row 6 we can see stars here, right? So I want to print this star in the row 0, row 3 and row 6, but at that time column should be greater than 0 and less than 4 because this is already done, right? We want only this now. So we want star at row 0, row 3 and row 6, but at that time column should be 1, 2, 3, not 0, not 4. So now I'll write like this, that is I'll check whether row is equal to 0 or row is equal to 3 or row is equal to 6. Okay, if any one of this condition is true, then I want star, but at that time column should be greater than 0 and column should be less than 4. So I group this together. Okay, here in this condition, here we are checking whether row is equal to 0 or row equal to 3 or row equal to 6, we want star. But at that time column should be greater than 0 and column should be less than 4. Here this is the logical AND operator. In this case, if both the inputs are true, then only it will give output as true, otherwise it is false. Okay, so in the logical AND, if any one of the condition is false, then output is false. Here I want both this condition should be true, that's why I use this AND here. And this AND is because if any one of this condition is true, I want this should be true, right? So I used AND here. Okay, I'll again explain you. First I'll check whether column is equal to 0 or column equal to 4. If any one of the condition is true, I want the star. So here we can see this column 0 and column 4. Okay, this is my one condition. Next I'll use or here. This condition or this condition. If any one of this condition is true, I want star. That's why I mentioned or here. And here in this part we are concentrating on the rows, that is at row 0 or row 3 or row 6 we want star, but at that time column should be greater than 0 and less than 4. If you already watched my previous tutorial, then this is only the new thing, right? Remaining codes are same, right? Then I'll enter inside the if body and I'll print star. And here I'll change end is empty string. Here end is an string in the print statement. Here in the output, after printing star, immediately I want next star. I don't want any space or new line between these two stars. So that's why I mentioned end is empty string here. Okay. If you want to know more about this end string, then you need to watch my previous tutorial, that is printing stars in alphabetical A shape. In that I explained in detail. Okay, and next I'll print else part. Okay, so if this condition is not satisfied, then what happens? If this condition is not satisfied, then I'll print space. That's why I'll use end equal to space. Okay, inside the first for loop, I'll print statement. It is because after each row we need a new line, that is here after printing row 0, control goes to the next line, right? That's why we are using this statement. Okay, now we are done with the code. So I'll save this and run this. And here we can see the output. Okay, but this won't look like proper B, right? If you want proper B, then you can modify your condition and you will get that. To get more convincing B, we need to change in the column 4. Okay, so what I'll do is here I'll remove this column 4. Okay, so I'll do this. Now I'll write the condition for column 4. So I'll take another OR. So next here I mention whether column is equal to 4, that time row should not be equal to 0 and row should not be equal to 3 and row should not be equal to 6, and rest part all are same, right? Row is equal to 3, 6 and 0. So now I'll save this and run this, and here we can see the output. Here what I did is I removed this star and this star and this star. Okay, so now it looks like B, right? For that I changed in the column 4, that is I want star in the column 4, but that time row should not be equal to 0, row should not be equal to 3 and row should not be equal to 6, right? Here I removed the star, right? So that's why I mentioned here when column is equal to 4, row should not be 0, 3 and 6. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. I'll meet you in next class. Till then, take care.